Hi, and welcome to another episode. On today's episode, I'll show you how Etsy has stolen our money. Our story begins in December 2021, specifically on the 12th of December, when a person from USA decided that they would like an item that we sell. Multiples, but that's beyond the point. Now, in January is where the fun begins, as the customer has messaged us to say that the item has not yet been delivered and whether it would make it on time. Us obviously looking at the time frames that the Etsy was estimating, and according to the tracking numbers, the items were due within the estimated delivery date that the Etsy put up for us, obviously within the listing, which the customer was informed of. Following that response, the customer has opened a case of the items not received, I do believe it's called. And this is where things turn interesting. As you can see from the screenshots that I was able to pull, the case, the person from Etsy replying states that the tracking number doesn't show the delivery and therefore it cannot be used as a valid proof of delivery. That being said, if you are unable to use an active tracking number that shows the items progressing, i.e. they are traveling from the delivery station to the delivery station among the all of the things that the items need to go through in order to be delivered, that would be very weird. Nonetheless, the Etsy personnel insist that we need to provide them with other proof of shipping. Therefore, they are not asking for proof of delivery, as in the item being delivered, they are asking for proof of shipment. And there is a whole list of them. So what are these items? Before we proceed with the items that can qualify as the proof of shipping by the claim of the person responding to the case, unless you're familiar of how the business mail works with the Royal Mail in the UK, or if you're using any other delivery methods or services, I'll briefly explain how that works and what do you get and what do you do. So, with an international mail, this is a return from Europe that wasn't claimed. So what you do is, obviously you pack your items the way you pack them. After that, you apply a shipping label. In this case, this is obviously the International Tracked Royal Mail postage on account, which means there is not a single signature on this that will be, or anywhere else on this exact label. So this is your postal stamp, if you will, potentially, but obviously not. Therefore, all you get is your tracking number that's down here. Now then, obviously, UK is out of the EU, and with the US being the same case, regardless, you would fill in a CN22 Customs Declarations form. This is pre-populated by the third-party services. Therefore, the Royal Mail Click and Drop is the service, what's called. It will be linked to a trading platform, and therefore it'll auto-populate all of the things that it needs to, besides the customs declarations, the numbers that specifically classify the items into. So it's not just I'm saying this is paper, I'm saying this is this number, it means to customs this is such and such code, regardless. Now this is both in paper form printed here, and obviously it is saved into the system in electronic format. Therefore the customs declaration is and this is how it is, this is how it works, and this is how it looks. Now from this return you can also see, while this has multiple different labels attached extras to it besides the original two, you can see that there is not a single thing besides obviously the reason for this being returned to sender. This and whatever this is, some sort of money. You can see that there is nothing handwritten, there is no stamps, there is no anything besides the obviously declaration and the label, shipping label itself. Now, what do you do with this? This is placed into a Royal Mail bag. Now, that bag is then sealed using the zip tie and a shipping tag. Now, obviously, you use the shipping tag, the one that fits the shipping service. In this case, this is international tracked, I do believe, and it was also the case for that specific order. Now then, what Etsy suggests that we can provide in order to prove that we've shipped the item if they have just disqualified the active live tracking that is being updated. It doesn't just sit at a single address, it has been updated. Now, they say that a shipping receipt that shows full buyer's address can be provided. Now, I've just explained to you how this works. Therefore, well, you print the manifest that shows all of the items combined and the services used. You give that manifest either to the person collecting, post office itself, or the depot. Therefore, you do not get any paperwork whatsoever for this service. But let's say if we would have used, we would have paid for this shipping service rather than it being a business on account postage. In that case, I would have taken this to the post office. Post office would have given me a receipt of acceptance, but the only thing that it would show on the receipt itself, or on the receipt that is given by the post office, is the postcode. It would show where the item is going to the postcode of it. As I've just read, the Etsy would only accept a shipping receipt that shows full buyer's address. Out of luck there. Okay, there's still 2 points, so we might as well just pick one of them. So the next one is picture of the package with official stamp or seal. As you know, well, we generally do not take pictures of the items we dispatch, especially being packed in bags. And therefore, another thing is this would have to display an official stamp or seal. This has gone to Germany and back. It doesn't have a single stamp. It never does, because everything's electronic now. That is what I'll point out slightly later, but I'll point out as well on that, slightly shorter. Shortly, apologies. I'm out of practice, as you might have noticed. Now, there's still one more chance for us to prove that we've actually dispatched the items, and that would be a picture of a stamped customs form. Stamped customs form. You see what I'm getting, right? There is not a single stamp. Yes, there is a sticker that partially covers this, but I can assure you, there is no stamp underneath either. There is no stamp on the other side as well. I mean, this is probably return to sender or something. This is date of when they accepted it, so I don't know. Regardless, neither of the markings that are present on this have any stamps. Neither would that package have. And not only that, we do not have access to it regardless. The customs stamp would only be used at the time of the declaration itself, if you do it manually at the point of crossing, not at the point of shipping. Therefore, we do the only thing we can, because obviously we are under impression that since there is a tracking number, it must be a misunderstanding where, let's say, somebody new came on board and they're just learning the trade, if you will, being a customer support at the Etsy, and they are not fully aware of everything and how the things work. Now, here's the continuation of the case. As you can see, there is a further statement of us not providing a valid shipping confirmation. At this point, we double check the tracking details provided on the order, and obviously, just in case you're wondering, here is how it looks on the UPS, and given the date of the 10th of January, we can see that it is moving. There was a delay indeed. There are actions that have been before this, there have been actions that were obviously after this, but this is the period in which we are looking at, because this is the period of time where we have responded to the case. Now, in our response, we state that this is a live tracking. The parcel is on its way to be delivered. It's just going through its whatever the hoops it has to take in order to be delivered. And we didn't think much of that. Now, funny thing, as you can see, on the 12th of January, the Etsy representative decides to close the case in the buyer's favor. Funny thing, here is the delivery record from the Royal Mail with this tracking number. Is it me, or on the 12th of January, the item had been delivered, the representative looks at the case, does not check the delivery state, and issues a full refund. Not only that, here is the reason that was proposed, or not proposed, it was set. This is the reason that somebody chose to close this case using with, and this is how it currently stands. I'm not sure how do I describe this thing, because obviously we kinda not only could have completed the transaction, we factually have completed the transaction. As you might be aware, and in case you're not, on Etsy, once the case is decided, there is no appeal. It just doesn't work. There isn't one. There is no appeal button. There is nothing. The Etsy, in this case, they look at the case once, and whatever they decide is set in stone, pretty much. There are some exceptions, obviously, but in the past, you were used to get, on some occasions, you were able to call Etsy, but I think the last time I managed to call Etsy was like, I don't know, 2-3 years ago or something, and I only managed to do it once. And since then, obviously, I've tried several things, but none of them resulted in me getting hold of the number to call the customer service. Therefore, there is a way, although it's also not straightforward, it is kind of hidden. So I've ended up Googling rather than actually going through the Etsy support channels themselves, but it is a live chat. Now, we obviously go there. We are connected straight away with somebody. As I proceed to describe the situation to the person says that Etsy did nothing wrong, and now that they see that the item has been delivered, we should go outside of Etsy and convince the customer to pay us outside the Etsy, of the Etsy. And I'm not paraphrasing, I'm not using my own words. That is what the customer representative in the live chat of Etsy has told us. For us to go outside of Etsy and to pursue the customer in order to pay us the money outside the Etsy, obviously. I must have said it twice. Anyway, that is weird on its own, and I found it very amusing, if you will. We then proceed to say that obviously not only there is that problem, that the case was closed as the item was delivered with the refund, obviously, and whatnot. It was also closed with unreasonable reason. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Unreasonable reason, where they've stated that the seller isn't able to complete the transaction, which is obviously not correct. At which point the Etsy customer service rep disconnected from the chat. They just left. So even if I would want to do something about this situation, this bizarre customer service representative way of handling the issue, because in my opinion there's already two. One is forcing us to go outside the Etsy, dealing with the customers directly, and not that I mind, it's just that most commonly this is forbidden by the terms and services of the platforms themselves, unless you are aware. So therefore, if you link your email, your phone, your something in the messages between you and the buyer on the third-party selling platform itself, such as Etsy, such as Amazon, such as eBay, for example, you would get in trouble with the platform itself, because they automatically monitor and it flags up for you trying to bypass the platform itself, and you're trying to deal with the customer directly, and therefore a big mess. Anyway, and obviously disconnecting mid-chat is like, okay, not really okay. So the window appears with the button with continuing of the chat. So we obviously proceed with the continuation of the chat, and a new representative connects. They read through it, and we add that we would like to make a complaint, obviously, about the previous customer who, from what we could have seen, is obviously violating the Etsy policies and is not doing their due diligence, if you will, within dealing with this case and this matter at hand. Now, the person looks at it and they add somebody else and leave. At least now somebody picked up on the case itself. They've looked at the case, they've looked at the delivery information, and I would really love to show you the whole transcript or whatever. Unfortunately, there is no history of it, as in the chats, when the chat's done, that's it. There's Etsy at least, sorry, eBay at least is sending you out the chat transcript that you've had with the customer service rep, whereas on Etsy, as soon as you close the window, that's it. There's no records of it anywhere. So, anyway, the third now, customer rep that was reading through all of the items on our list that we wanted them to deal with, or at least to look at, and they've agreed that this could have been mishandled and this should probably have been dealt differently, and therefore they would place there is some sort of closed elite group in Etsy, staff members or something. They deal with special cases or whatever, and therefore this person would create a ticket for that team to look at and investigate whether this whole case has been properly looked at. Here's the special elite team. The first one to appear is Pierre. Now Pierre, and I'm clueless if that's how the guy's name is pronounced, but don't judge me too much. I don't know how to read many things, but I do my best. Anyway, Pierre is a shipping specialist, and he states that they couldn't help because we apparently shipped it late. Now, I'm not sure what sort of shipping specialist Pierre is, and we at a later stage will ask Pierre that, just that. Basically, as you know now, at least, if you didn't know before, then the Royal Mail bags, they do not get scanned, nothing happens. The person either collecting or regardless of how you do it, the whole thing, the whole bag or bags will end up in the local depot. Now, what happens there? Nothing happens until the lorry arrives. The lorry arrives, all of the bags go in. But that could be the same evening, that could be the next morning, that could be the day after tomorrow. regardless of when that happens, it is not right there and then. And it's only when the bags are actually delivered to your local sorting center. For us, it would be Warrington, I do believe. It's one of the newest and largest mail sorting centers in the UK, if I'm not mistaken even. Anyhow, that's out of the scope for this video. Anyhow, the point is, it will not be scanned until after the bag has been delivered to its sorting place. The bag would be cut open, it would go through sorting, and at that point, if it's readable, legible and everything, it will then scan, and that is when it will appear on the tracking as something, a sorting facility or whatever. One of that. It might be even slightly more complex with the international items. They might go to a specific center like the customs or whatever first. Anyhow, the peer, we've pointed many of these things to peer, whom suggested that also is what he suggested is that the issue is more accurately described as late shipment and delayed delivery. Now, therefore again, when the person who has closed the case specifically chose the reason that the seller could not complete the transaction, chose that instead of anything else, because I'm fully aware that there is at least one more other option that would be more suitable. Either the item is lost in the mail, which is not true, but still would be a better fit regardless. And the more suitable thing would be to select a reason that would be completely true, well, not even completely true at the point, is that the item was substantially delayed in the mail. Now, obviously the case was closed on the day the item was actually factually delivered to the end customer. That wouldn't be proved correct, and it's only about 5 or so days delayed. Anyhow, going on, we obviously are not happy with what Pierre is saying, because all he's doing is a bunch of scripted text, and in between he's saying we haven't complied, so they can't do anything, and they would like to do more. And at the end of every message that you will see going forwards now is hashtag stand with small. There you go. Etsy standing with small. So later on, because we are obviously continuing to push for at least some sort of conclusiveness, and this is obviously so far hasn't been a very pleasant joyride, if you will. Therefore, Joyce, is this how you spell Joyce? Joyce? I'll call her Joyce, has joined, and again, besides the scripted text, she's stating pretty much what the peer did, that we have not provided, amongst other things, we have not provided a proof of shipment, that we had 48 hours to provide the tracking details to the buyer, but to them, we need to provide the shipping proof of shipment. Now, how does that make any sense? That's beyond my understanding. Why would the buyer be satisfied with the tracking info? Well, they wouldn't be. Anyway, moving on. So we asked just that. Since when is the active tracking number this not said as the shipping confirmation? And keep in mind, all of this is going on after the case has been closed on the 12th and after the delivery has been marked as delivered, sorry, the order has been marked as delivered on the 12th. Therefore, this is already within their system. Now then, obviously nobody of them is checking anything, hence the generic response that completely ignores the question and just states generic things. But then again, every single one of them, if you'd like more information, if you've got any more queries, please contact us. We'll be more than happy to help. Hashtag stand with small. Okay, we proceed pushing. Obviously, we're getting nowhere and nobody's doing anything besides citing the standard, the scripted lines, just copy pasting again and again. And now Sarah, Sabrina joins in, and now she, as you can see, she's given us a more sophisticated list of things that can be used in order to prove, well, that the items have been shipped and whatnot. And here she says that we can, we can provide the tracking number that shows the items delivered. That can be used in order for us to defend ourselves, which it was on the 12th, and now we've got them. Now, they're obviously saying we haven't provided this. Obviously, the tracking number and everything was always available for everybody to see, and the person decided on the case obviously just didn't even check. Neither did any of these people, because obviously this was done post fact of the delivery. So post delivery, this is all going on with all of these people, with the Pierre, with the Joyce, with the Sabrina, and the rest of the staff. Every single one of them, if they are in need of proof of the tracking number and the item delivered, it was there and then. It was already there. The case was already closed on the same date of the date of delivery. Seeing this and how Etsy has handled, or mishandled rather, the whole situation, because obviously there's still a problem, at least on our end, and it's not that we are out of pocket. The financial amount of this transaction that has been lost is minuscule, and it won't do anything to us. Now the product itself, labor and time waste, that's everything is out of the question, out of that matter. At this present point, there's only two things that I'm interested. One, as till now, this is a matter of point, so therefore this is principle. I want to see a decent conclusion where somebody admits that they've made a boo-boo and obviously at least offer an apology. But so far, I'm sorry, a rather generic copy-paste, I'm sorry, from the script that follows word to word from person to person is... the sincere could not be further from this whole text that they've sent us. Then I don't know. Anyway, the second obviously thing is the defect, which I'm not sure whether it is present or not, whether it works or not like the eBay does, or what it does or doesn't do. I haven't asked anyone, I do not know how it works. But eBay, for example, if you get such a defect on your account, you can only have so many of them before your account is closed for good, permanently. Bang, that's it, you won't be able to sell. And this is why it is important to keep these situations at a zero level, and I mean at a zero level. Now, on Etsy, I'm not sure whether it does anything or it doesn't do anything. Well, I'm not sure what it does. And obviously, if it affects us, then how? Because obviously on eBay, it does affect you, but you will not know it until you get the third strike on your app. That's how it works on eBay. You get your 3 strikes, that's it, and you're gone. You're done. But until then, you won't be able to tell unless you go dig deep into the structures of eBay, and you will see. But here, I'm clueless of whether it works or not. Therefore, principle and the question of defect on the account, obviously. These two things is what we're pursuing.